Welcome to Bat Flips and Party Tips, the perfect podcast for baseball and good times in Omaha. Here are your hosts, Andrew Rogers and Anna Bellinghausen.
Welcome, Bat Flips, Party Tips, in conjunction with D1 Baseball. I'm Anna Bellinghausen, not Andrew Rogers. He's out of town. Graciously have Erin Sorensen here. Erin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm pinch hitting, and I also just almost spit all over you. It's fine. I'm very excited to be here. I feel I'm the most well-rested individual in the vicinity of where I'm at right now.
You might be. We're calling this the CWS Hangover Show because, let's face it, we've worked 15 games in 8 days. Sasha, my producer, and I, shout out Sasha. Totally worth it, though, because we got to witness some history, which we'll dive into in a moment. But first of all, taking care of business, today's podcast is sponsored by Elkhorn Training Camp, one of the nation's best indoor baseball facilities headquartered in the college baseball capital of the world, Omaha, Nebraska, with over 50,000 square feet of training space, 4 locations, and plans to open a new state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot building this fall. Elkhorn Training Camp is everything your baseball player needs for development, whether it's training space, private lessons from former collegiate and professional players, batting cages, hit tracks, technology. Elkhorn Training Camp offers unsurpassed baseball player needs. Check out the facility and programs at elkhorntrainingcamp.com. So thank you to them. Also, thank you to D1 Baseball in conjunction with this show. Erin, Ole Miss sweeps the College World Series Finals. Game 1 was 10-2. Game 2 was 4-2. Before the show, you told me that you almost stopped watching because you thought Oklahoma was going to win.
Stop watching.
You did stop watching.
Yeah, I basically saw Oklahoma go up and was just I was prepared for a game 3. Was planning on going to game 3.
You had tickets.
Well, I was going to look at tickets. I was like, how much do we think we're talking for a game 3 here? And check back in a little bit later. Everyone was tweeting about how Ole Miss was the national champions. And I'm like, hold on a second.
I missed something there.
So I got myself caught up. I definitely, looked at the controversy and everything else that happened.
Yep.
But very exciting for Ole Miss.
Right.
Ole Miss definitely showed up in Omaha with every intention of rocking this town. And certainly did. Although to the Ole Miss fans, if you're watching, to those of you who were dangerously crossing Dodge Street last night, you all are lucky as heck. Because there's a thread on Twitter
of
the people trying to get. There's a woman standing off against a car.
Oh,
I was like, this is
no regards.
Bold. But you know what? Live your best life.
They tried to shut down Dodge Street, essentially.
They
almost did.
Nebraska football did that in 1997 when they won the national title. They shut down 72nd and Dodge. So look, it's just Ole Miss changing it. It's just downtown. 13th and Dodge? What a time.
Why not? Well, Ole Miss swept Oklahoma, and then, like you said, Oklahoma tried to come storming back, and then the 8th inning happened, 2 wild pitches. All of a sudden, the Rebels are on top of the college baseball world. Most valuable player, Dylan DeLucia. He made 4 starts throughout the College World Series. He went 3-0 with a 1.59 ERA, including a clutch performance to shut out Arkansas, which led Ole Miss to that title series. DeLucia allowed 1 earned run, 17 strikeouts with a walk. Just 1 walk in 16 2/3 inning. Just absolutely insane from Dylan DeLucia. He will go high on the draft boards. And then Tim Elko, the story, the folk hero. The podcast favorite. Andrew loves him, so I have to bring him up. He returned for this season, and he got that national championship. And there are already talks of building a statue of Tim Elko outside of their stadium, Swayze.
I was ready for you to say here.
Or
that
here,
makes
too.
more sense, I guess, there than it does here. Although at this point, just keep building statues outside of Rosenblatt. That could be fun.
Right.
New statues.
I
said Rosenblatt.
Yeah.
It's not at Rosenblatt anymore.
No.
Oh, there are people who I either just gave them sincere nostalgia or really upset them.
Well,
it's one of the two.
Rosenblatt.
I don't even I can't even say Charles Schwab.
It's tough. When I broadcasted there, I'm really hesitant to say it because I think I'm gonna just mess it up.
I've said the wrong name literally every single time, so I think my brain is now just reverting to Rosenblatt because it's easy.
The OG.
No one gets mad at Rosenblatt.
Well, Ole Miss, they were the last team in, but they were the last one standing. So it's an incredible Cinderella story for them. They were preseason number 1, really fell off. They were 7-14 in the SEC, and then just came storming back. And when I talked to the guys afterwards, it was all about the belief and the confidence that team had. Tim Elko was no doubt from the beginning of the season that this team was going to be special, and they had their ups and downs, but he said it just brought them together, and the captain got it done. It was absolutely incredible to watch, Erin.
The thing that I love about sports is it's the any given Sunday. Anything can happen, and it's even one of those things where, like, obviously I cover Nebraska specifically. And so, like, when we were looking at, like, what was possible for Nebraska, I think there's a reason that people kept thinking at the end of the season, things can turn around, things can be different, things can be better, because you just don't know. Teams can, like, sincerely take a hard time and turn it into something, as long as there's, like, you have to have that, like, there's got to be something special. The team either is playing for themselves, or there's always something that you kind of feel like just is building there, and they can overturn whatever, like, bad has been there. So it just felt like a team. I mean, I did get to see Ole Miss play. They played against Arkansas. They lost. But, like, just watching the fan base, watching the team, and even in a loss, how they, like, responded to one another, it was like, there's something special here, because it's not defeat. They don't feel like every game of this series, it felt like they went out and they're like, this is our game to win. And when they didn't win, it didn't defeat them. They came back out and just kept playing their game. Pretty good.
Their only loss was that Arkansas game. It was 3-2.
And it's the only one I went to. So my bad, Ole Miss.
Aaron needs to stay away from all Ole Miss fans and faithful. But yeah, that was the only loss. And I said this to Andrew before, and I was like, I think that loss was good for Ole Miss to feel that, because they were undefeated in the postseason. Then they got to feel what it was like to lose again. And just, I'm sure that reminded them of being 7-14 earlier in the SEC and feeling like there was no chance for them. They were, like, clinching their seats on Selection Sunday or whatever day it was, to see if they're even in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And they make it. And not only are they the last team in, they're the last one standing. And to beat a team like Oklahoma, another one that, I mean, hats off to them. Nobody really thought Oklahoma would be there. They were doubted pretty much the whole entire season. So it was fun to see this College World Series play out. And I mean, maybe it's just this recency biasy, but I think this is one of my favorite College World Series in remembrance.
I mean, obviously there was something special about it, because the attendance was incredible. I've never had, at least in recent years, have not had such trouble finding tickets, and seeing the amount of people who are taking to Twitter, to Facebook, looking for tickets that were, $200, $300 a ticket for not club seats. We're talking, like, just even outfield seats. And it's been a while since I've seen. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Ole Miss, a lot of these teams were travel teams. A lot of the fans traveled, but Ole Miss traveled a lot of fans. And so that takes the tickets and makes it harder. But I think the environment itself, the competition, all of it really made for, I feel, a very memorable College World Series.
Oh, it was a great atmosphere. I mean, you walked outside of Charles Schwab and it was all
not
Ole Miss
Rosenblatt.
fans. Not Rosenblatt. But they did go visit. The Ole Miss team did go visit Rosenblatt, and their Mike Bianco took them over there and was like, this is a part of this history. I thought that was a pretty cool moment, because that guy's been in the game forever.
It is cool. I mean, I've been over there too, and it is neat. You kind of, like, get nostalgic, because you see the, the red, yellow, blue seats, and you kind of have this moment of, like, what was. But I will say, I remember when they did move to Charles Schwab, wondering when it would feel like the College World Series, because the first couple of years felt very, like, it didn't feel right. Now this kind of fits into our next topic, because it's starting to feel like this is where the College World Series is. There are businesses, bars, everything around it that are starting to kind of have, like, their grip in the area. And that makes it special, because it gives people something to look forward to each year. And that's great.
I think people are finally realizing that the city was literally built around the College World Series down there. I mean, that baseball park, all the restaurants, the bars, every place around it is all built around these 2 weeks, and that's when they make a lot of their money. So let's talk about our next topic. The biggest winners of the College World Series. We'll actually start with Rocco's Pizza. Ole Miss last night was at 18,003 Jell-O shots at 9:30 p.m. So I can't imagine the damage they did. That's $81,000.
It's insane.
Look up CWS shot board right now and see if they have an update for us.
I want to go look.
And they ran out of Jell-O.
By the way, they've grown so many followers over this.
Oh,
I think when I looked, like, a couple of days ago, they were at, like, 11,000 or something. They're at 16.4. So good for them. They have not an update.
They're probably so slammed.
You said you feel like you're having a hangover.
Yeah.
They're probably in a hole.
Oh my God.
Now, I saw that it's the note from the owners talking about what this has meant to them, and how, the pandemic really hit small businesses hard, and how just surviving the pandemic was one thing, but now having this and just having such a great, successful year. If I can encourage anyone watching to do anything, though, those businesses that are around Charles Schwab, go frequent them outside of College World Series weeks. You know them, you love them. They are operating every other week of the year.
Right.
So go enjoy them. Go to Rocco's and just enjoy being there because it's so clear how much this series meant to the ownership and just kind of reviving for them why they love what they do in their business. But keep that energy going. I'm not saying go out and buy 18,000 Jello shots over this weekend. You can if you want to, but go throw them a visit every so often because they would appreciate it.
They flew in their family to work this College World Series. I'm pretty sure they said they didn't have enough staff or couldn't get enough staff, so they flew in members of their family to keep up the business. That's just incredible.
And they're donating $2 for every Jello shot that has and will be purchased by each school's fans to the June B. Gerhardt Full Circle Food Pantry at the University of Arkansas and the Grove Food Pantry at Ole Miss. So that's
just incredible.
Pretty great.
Right.
Good for them. Winners for everyone.
Oh, winners. All right. Next winner, I have to say Mike Bianco. So earlier in the season, their athletic director at Ole Miss was getting calls about firing this guy. They were upset. 7-14, we've mentioned it multiple times.
No, fans never call for their coaches to
in the
be
SEC
fired.
too, right? Never heard of that. He is the longest tenured coach in the SEC, 22 years at Ole Miss. And I saw the embrace between Bianco and his wife, and I almost teared up because it was incredible to see because that guy's just worked so hard for that team and finally got it done.
Yeah, these are the things that it's so hard because I don't want to ever say that fan bases aren't justified in wanting to call for change if that's maybe what's right in that moment. I never want to say that, but he is definitely an example of persistence paid off and patience paid off. But what an incredible run, and I'm sure this just gets that fan base fired up for what's possible in the future.
And their AD said Mike Bianco can have the job as long as he wants. So many more natties to come for those guys, and also their first men's athletic program championship in the history of their school. So that was the first one. They have a women's golf championship. That was the first of their men's programs.
Really?
Yeah. So
really,
my next winner is the Ole Miss students that finally got to celebrate a major championship on this level in Omaha. Because I went to UNO. We never won a championship in anything. You went to UNO, right? Or
I went to University of Nebraska.
Any natties? No.
Bowling. We can't laugh at bowling. Bowling's amazing.
No, they're legit.
So I'm trying to think when I was in school. I think volleyball would have won a national title right when I got there. I think. They've won so many that it just it doesn't even just we'll pull a year out of the air and it's probably a national title year. No, I've had some national to be fair, I had some good experiences as a student, but your point is really, really great because when you have those moments as a student where you have something to rally behind, you have teams that do really, really well. And in the case of even just getting to a champion, a conference championship game, that can be a huge thing for a student fan base. I will say, honestly, though, I wish I would have appreciated the bowling team at Nebraska more when I was there. I appreciate them more as an adult.
Why didn't they go party out for the bowling team?
Well, seriously, now people
Barry should have been full.
Right? Barry's didn't, this sounds awful. Barry's did not exist, I don't think, in the way that it does now when I was in school. I'm looking at Sasha for confirmation, do you know? Which is, let's not talk about my age. We had the rail.
I still go to the rail.
The bar. But yeah, the thing is you are right. Students, I've been to national championship games, and student when they get to travel and be a part of it and celebrate something, it's just really good for camaraderie, and it's also just really fun.
Imagine going to Alabama with those football championships and just getting used to my team's gonna win.
It's whatever.
Yeah,
it's just another year.
But these fans had to really soak that moment in because it's never really happened in their time. So Ole Miss students, you probably have a really bad hangover today we feel like we have right now, but good for you guys. Next winner, hairy chest bikini guy named Tim.
I did see him, by the way.
So you watched enough to see
No,
Tim?
I literally saw him in person.
Oh, you saw him in person?
Yeah.
He was at the game?
Yeah.
That was the Arkansas Ole Miss game.
He was there. So
you saw a lot.
So he was either the jinx or I was, one of the two. No, I saw him, and the reason I spotted him is because he was attracting quite the crowd. A lot of people were wanting to take photos.
Right.
And
why not? He has a hairy chest bikini.
Well, the one of my friends that I was with, we were walking the concourse, he noticed his back first and was like, oh, that's like a really interesting, like,
wait, and he has a liner on the back?
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah, he noticed that first and then turned around and he's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, he was definitely attracting a crowd.
So I was in the press conference room and we were watching it on the big screen, and one of the NCAA staff members, I believe her name's Jen, she so she has like her NCAA polo on, like her credential, like she looks really official. So she was like, I walked up to Tim and Tim was like, oh no.
What did I do?
Tim thought he was getting kicked out. But Jen was like, no, I just want to take a picture with you. My husband loves this. And he was like, oh my God, I thought I was out of here. Like he didn't get kicked out. No, they just wanted a picture with him, the NCAA staff. So
Look,
shout out them.
In the big scheme of things, walking around with your chest shaved into the shape of a bikini is like not a, like there are so many worse things.
It's not an offense necessarily.
No,
maybe to the eyes, but
look, he was having a good time with it and fans were having a good time. He was actually out in was he out in right field when I saw? I think he was, and like fans were just having a good time with it. So, you know, hey, you're creating a fun spectacle and a photo opportunity.
Yes. I mean, he had his moment of fame for sure. He'll never be known as anything else probably.
Look, one of the very first things I ever got to cover, I helped the Big Ten Network do like a whole thing on like Nebraska tailgates. And there was a guy that had big shaved into his chest and everyone wanted photos with him. It's a memory. You'll pass it down to your children.
Maybe that was his dad. Next winner, college baseball, just the entire thing. The men's College World Series viewership up 17% entering the final. We don't have the numbers for the CWS finals yet, but I'm sure that's also great. Entering game 1 from Saturday, 1.04 million viewers across ESPN's family of networks. Again, up 17%. So just a great thing for the game.
It is. And, you know, I think, you know, I just also want to throw this in there. I saw some people who made comments about the use of men's College World Series this year and being like, oh, is this the thing? It's a great thing.
It's a great thing.
It's a great thing that we now can we have the men's College World Series. We have the women's College World Series. Seeing the MCWS for me was like, it was honestly like it was cool for me to see. I don't think it took anything away from the experience in the event overall. But, you know, I think we've talked a lot about this. I'm just saying kind of generally as like people of sports, sort of like the women's College World Series has fantastic viewership, but it's the idea of when you build it, they will come. When you keep building all of these sports across the board, you see viewership go up. When you give them the airtime, everything else, you see viewership go up. And so I know we talk a lot about how that viewership changes when you give that access in women's sports, but you see the same thing in men's sports. When ESPN gives it the same time, attention, everything, you see the viewership also. Now, Ole Miss, Arkansas, everybody certainly helped. I'm not implying that like their fan bases didn't, but that viewership is up from like people across the board watching it. And it's when you make it accessible, men's and women's sports, people watch, you see the viewership go up. And you know what? For someone like ESPN, that is just good business.
And I know softballs was up as well. So kudos to both sides. So we did the biggest winners. What about the biggest losers of the College World Series? We're not talking about teams. Every team, hats off to them. You had a great season. We're talking about the other losers of the College World Series. Number 1, I have the behind the home plate camera from ESPN.
Oh, did
you get to see that?
I did. I didn't jump, thankfully. It just got smashed.
Yeah, so the ball, if you're not familiar, the ball came right off the bat. I believe it was a foul tip right back into the home plate camera. And so that cameraman's name was John. And I was actually with John after that happened. So he was hanging out in the press conference room as well.
Is John from UNO or did he go to UNO?
I have no idea.
There's somebody who went to UNO that worked right behind the plate.
Okay. So I know him. Okay. That was not him.
Okay.
They like switch out every few innings or so. So it was John holding the camera. And I asked him, like, has that ever happened to you before? The ball just shattered the first part of the glass in the camera. He said no. So before they used to have like different glass panes in front of those camera shots, but it would like distort the shot. So they had to take them away. And so last time they measured the netting for how far the ball can like go when it's being hit back. And they hadn't measured it in a while, I think. And that ball was like 100 miles per hour back. Just shattered the camera lens.
I mean, think of it this way though, because that was like, so it hit the netting and still came
went through. Yeah.
So imagine for fans that don't like the netting there, which be so grateful that the netting
Saves
is there.
lives.
It's literally saves lives. And that was, it just completely shattered. And it was like I will say it was very appeal. Like if you're somebody who needs like, it was very appealing the way it cracked. It was nice
sweet
to look at. It was like very like, oh, that's kind of very expensive, but very nice to look at.
I asked the same thing. So they only had to replace not exactly the lens, but just a glass pane in front of it, and they said it was about $20,000.
Oh, just
so yeah. Ooh. But ESPN, of course, had extra ones on hand.
Good thing they packed the extra bag.
Yeah, they needed it, obviously. Another big loser, my white shoes that I wore every single day of the College World Series, regardless if I was on dirt or grass or concrete, didn't care. I'm still wearing them. I will need to be buying new ones because they are stained kind of orange on the laces. I don't like that. Have you had that problem before?
I have. In fact, I was just talking just the other day. Somebody noted that they liked the shoes that I was wearing. I was like, thanks. These are the second pair I've actually owned of these shoes. Because
I'm on my second too.
Yeah, they got ruined covering football. And in fact, one of my very favorite, that is not the only pair of shoes that's happened to. I went to Minnesota. They have a turf field. They just have a lot of turf pellets for reasons that like, it's fine. They just went they were a little overzealous with the turf pellets. It had been raining. I walked around in these boots and those pellets just dyed everything on the bottom part of those boots black. Oof. So there was no salvaging them. And so I just had to repurchase. Same thing with the shoes I was wearing the other day. So I get it.
Yeah.
You know, you can keep them as like,
they'll be my backup shoes.
Yeah. It's like, well, and it's also like ceremonial. It's like,
right.
Yeah, I've got these.
Maybe I'll hang them up or put them in a case or something.
We can put them in a case at the Hail Varsity Club.
Yeah. I'll sign them.
Look, people show up for photos. It's like,
yeah, they're like, those are the shoes.
Those were the shoes.
Another big loser, Sasha and I's sleep schedule and our laundry we have to do after this episode. Lots of laundry at my house, lots of laundry at her house, because every time we came home from the CWS at like, I don't know, 11, sometimes midnight even, no one wants to do their laundry, right? No. When you get home that late.
I don't even want to do my laundry normally.
Right, me neither. So we've got a lot of housework to do. And then,
but props to you both, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say shout out Sasha and I mean,
shout out to you. I mean,
mostly Sasha though.
I was watching you two were like, you should have just slept at the College World Series.
We could have.
You could have easily just set up shop, camped down there.
I don't know if they checked the media workroom. We could have like set up tents.
Honestly, like most press boxes and press media rooms I've been in, no one actually checks them. You really could have just set up shop, and like the only person who would have noticed would have been like somebody who was coming through to like clean up that evening, and like, that person would have been like, not my problem.
I've seen
I am not being paid to deal with this. I'm just here to make sure the room is set for tomorrow. I'm out. Like,
just leave us be.
Just leave us be.
Last loser of the College World Series, everyone that didn't listen to bat flips and party tips. I'm so sorry. You could have hung out with me and Andrew, and then also Erin today, a special guest. Claps for her.
I showed up right at the end.
She got here 4 minutes before the show started.
Look,
and we're still going.
To be fair, no one explicitly said what time. You just said we're starting at noon. I was like, I'll be like 5 minutes early. It's fine. And I was actually here 7 minutes early, but I sat in my car for a minute and was messaging some stuff for work. So give me a break.
You're doing great.
I have a job to do.
All right. Lastly, Erin, way too early predictions for next season. Got any fun ones?
No, because it feels like the SEC just like
they'll be back.
And in fact, like this is the part that, you know, the Big Ten obviously battles with every year. Any cold weather conference battles with the whole like, can we even compete? Because the SEC is the one that kind of just like runs everything. I do like that you have LSU down because it would be fun to get LSU back to Omaha. LSU is very. I would love to see their Rocco shot board. I would love to see that. Man. Like LSU would probably go
the
a
question
little
is,
bit.
Our question shouldn't be early prediction for next season for the game. It should be who will win the Rocco's CWS shot board challenge.
Yes.
And I would put my money on LSU if they're here.
Yeah, I would too. I would love to say that Ole Miss will be back. I think it would be tough.
Yeah,
there's
for sure
going to be, you know, there's always turnover, things that you have to address. You also have to remember with baseball right now, and this is going to be a really interesting season for rosters because the pandemic really affected rosters and how the NCAA allowed them to go over on rosters. And then their like scholarship numbers could be a little bit different just because of like, that's going to start swinging back, where they're going to have to start making different changes. As far as we're seeing a lot of transfers right now in baseball, and that's going to make things really interesting for some of these teams, because teams are already going to be graduating players. You're going to see teams who are transferring because they don't have the space, or they won't have, it's going to get different now that we're kind of coming out on the other side of, pandemic restrictions, what COVID-19 did in the NCAA, what they put into place for these. So that's going to be really interesting for me to watch, is like how these rosters sort of shape themselves.
For sure. I mean, a lot of guys are on like 6th year.
Yes.
It's incredible. But I almost love it because guys are staying in college more than just going to Major League Baseball. And I think that makes college baseball so special because, yes, you can leave after a year. You're a sophomore, you're eligible for the draft. But a lot of these guys in the series came back, like Tim Elko, and made the national championship happen, right?
Yes.
Like if those guys didn't come back, and I think like Justin Bench and Calvin Harris are 2 other guys on their team.
Not Calvin Harris, the singer.
No,
that
not
was
the DJ.
Or DJ. That was a fun thing. That there was a local TV reporter who was like, Calvin Harris is here, and their sports reporter had to be like, No, that Calvin Harris. It was a really great like moment to see the like text exchange.
They brought that up on ESPN last night. Like, who's more famous right now, Calvin Harris, the DJ, or Calvin Harris, the baseball player?
I would argue the baseball player. Well,
he probably has more Google searches right now.
Right. I mean, his SEO value is skyrocketing. But yeah, I mean, I like that you have Tennessee, Arkansas down. I think both.
Yeah.
Tennessee is always a team where I feel like I'm not shocked if they were
not at all.
And Arkansas too. I feel like
they'll be back.
They'll be back
for sure.
But there will be like a team that you're not expecting, and that's always the fun part.
Yeah, like should we just pick a random school right now and be like Southern Mississippi?
Right. I mean,
because it's a Mississippi team. I mean, it's like a storybook thing. Another Mississippi year.
I want Coastal Carolina to return.
Oh,
Can Coastal Carolina come back? And here's the reason I need Coastal Carolina to return. So if anybody out there is like adjacently familiar with anyone at Coastal Carolina, the last time they played at the College World Series, they had the best gear. And I wanted this hat. I wanted this white hat. And I'm confident I have like missed out on something in my life. I wanted this white hat. I was like, I'll get it the next day I come. I'm coming to multiple games. I won't buy it today. I'll get it the next time. I came back. It was sold out. Biggest regret of my life. I'm not a big regrets person. I regret that one. So if anyone has like access to this white hat that I'm talking about, I like just hook me up, please, because like I have been like thinking about this hat for several years. So I need them to come back just so I can get the gear. Come back, Coastal Carolina. Please come back.
That's awesome. Well, we'll wrap up the show. How about that?
Oh, no, it's been so fun.
I know. It's been fun. Well, thank you, Elkhorn Training Camp.
I feel like I need to get you both a shot.
D1 baseball. I need a shot of espresso first. Everyone that tuned in across the College World Series, you can keep following along for more sports coverage at Hurrdat Sports. Give Erin a follow at Erin Sorensen. You can find me at Annabelle Media. I'll plug Andrew too, even though he's not here, at Andrew Rogers TV. Thanks for hanging out with us all tournament long. We'll see you next time.